So, what you can do now? Just see your patterns and choose to make changes. Decide to change. You know, throwing up our hands in horror at what we may call the mess of our lives and just giving up are the ways many people react at this point. Others get angry at themselves or at life and also give up. And by giving up, I mean deciding it's all hopeless and impossible to make any changes. So why try? The rest of it goes. Just stay the way you are. At least you know how to handle that pain. You don't like it, but it is familiar and you hope it won't get any worse. Just try to find out, does habitual anger sounds familiar? That something happens and you get angry. Something else happens and you get angry again. Something else happens and you get angry again and again. But you never go beyond getting angry. What goes does that do? It's a foolish reaction to waste your time only getting angry. It's also a refusal to perceive life in a new and different way. It would be much more helpful to ask yourself how you are creating so many situations to get angry at. What are you believing that causes all these frustrations? What are you giving out that attracts in others and need to irritate you? Why do you believe that to get your way, you need to get angry? Whatever you give out comes back to you. And the more you give out anger, the more you are creating situations for you to get angry at. Make a decision to be willing to change. If you really want to know how stubborn you are, just approach the idea of being willing to change. We all want to have our lives change, to have situations become better and easier, but we don't want to have to change. We would prefer that they change in order to have this happen. We must change inside. We must change our way of thinking, change our way of speaking, change our way of expressing ourselves. Only then will the outer changes occur. And this is the next step. We are now fairly clear on what the problems are and where they came from. Now it is time to be willing to change. I have always had a streak of stubbornness within me. Even now, sometimes when I decide to make a change in my life, this stubbornness can come to the surface and my resistance to changing my thinking is strong. I can temporarily become self righteous, angry, and withdrawn. Yes, this still goes on within me after all these several years of work. It's one of my lessons. However, when this happens now, I know I am hitting an important point of change. And every time I decide to make a change in my life to release something else, I'm going ever deeper into myself to do this. Each old layer must give away in order to be replaced with new thinking. Some of it is easy, and some of it is like trying to lift a boulder with a feather. The more tenaciously I hold on to an old belief when I say I want to make a change, the more I know this is an important one for me to release. It is only by learning these things that I can teach others. It is my opinion that many really good teachers do not come from joyful households where all was easy. They come from a place of much pain and suffering, and they have worked through the layers to reach the place where they can now help others to become free. Most good teachers are continually working to release even more, to remove ever deeper layers of limitation, and this becomes a lifetime occupation. The main difference between the way I used to work at releasing beliefs and the way I do it today is that now I don't have to be angry at myself in order to do so. I no longer choose to believe that I am a bad person just because I find something else to change within me. The mental work I do now is like cleaning a house. I go through my mental rooms and examine the thoughts and beliefs in them. Some I love, so I polish and shine them and make them even more useful. Some I notice need replacement or repair, and I get around to them as I can. Some are like yesterday's newspapers and old magazines or clothing that's no longer suitable. These I either give away or toss into trash, and I let them to be gone forever. It's not necessary for me to be angry or to feel I'm a bad person in order to do this. So you can use this affirmation: I am willing to change. And repeat this often: I am willing to change. I am willing to change. You can touch your throat as you say this. The throat is the energy center in the body where changes take place. By touching your throat, you are acknowledging you are in the process of changing. Be willing to allow the changes to happen when they come up in your life. Be aware that where you do not want to change is exactly the area where you need to change the most. And say, I am willing to change. I am willing to change. I am willing to change. And the universal intelligence is always responding to your thoughts and words. Things will definitely begin to change as you make these statements.